everybody, Jason Harwood here at the home office with my good friend Sarah Walker.
Hey guys.
And we want to say congratulations on hitting 200 PRV this month. What a major accomplishment.
Now, as part of that accomplishment, you get a glimpse behind the curtain a little bit of what we have on display at the home office. Now, the office at this time is closed to the public, so you guys get a little peek. So we thought it would be fun to share a little bit of Scentsy's history, and you're a part of that, my friends. So let's just jump in. What do you see here, Jason?
So this display shows what manufacturing and some of the bars looked like back in the early days of Scentsy. You'll notice there's these fun jewelry boxes, and this is how they made bars. They would take wax and scented oil, and they would heat it in a crock pot.
Crock pot, okay? And there are some pictures here. So hand-poured bars. Now, little point of trivia, we do still hand-pour all of our bricks, but as you can see here, we have the crock pot, the pitchers, and these jewelry containers. Now, our bars now, of course, are segmented into those 8 pieces, so you can decide the strength of your fragrance, but this one, you get the whole big block. That's all it is. Just put the whole thing in the dish.
Just that thing right there was a bar. And then they would shrink wrap it. And so you'd take that whole bar of wax and pop that baby into your dish, which some of the warmers will show you here in a minute. You'll see the dishes were
They're massive.
ginormous.
We're going to show you those in just a second. But also look down at the labels here. So all of the sticker labels were on these big giant rolls that you would just tear off and then apply around. Really fun.
One at a time.
One at a time. No automation here, friends.
Yes, and a fun Scentsy history fact is that Heidi's mom and stepdad, Fred and Alice, spent hours and hours and hours hand pouring bricks for free in the early days.
Now, speaking of the hand pouring with the early days, Orville was on the road at that time doing fairs and shows. So he would have this with him in the hotel room and would be hand pouring at night after the fair or the show, would be hand pouring all of these bars and would make approximately 100 a day and then ship those back home so then Heidi could get them ready for orders.
Yeah. And in honor of that early contribution, the first machines that we had that created bars by the thousands and by the hundreds of thousands, we named the first ones Fred and Alice, and then Alfred.
And now we have Waximus.
Yes, in honor of their early contribution. That's the same Alice who later became a superstar director and for whom now the Shining Star Award is named. All because of their incredible contribution in the early days of Scentsy.
All right, are you guys ready to take a look at some of the older warmers? Should I say vintage? Do we say retro? What do you think?
Old.
Old. We say old. Okay, here we go. All right, here we are. We have another display case to show you. Now, quick little trivia tidbit for you about these warmers. In the very early days, Heidi would take pictures of the warmers in the backyard. And then Orville taught himself Photoshop and put together the first 3 catalogs. So as you can see, this one's a bit of a photo album.
Literally.
It's literally a photo album.
They would go, they would go to the Walmart and buy the little photo albums, take the pictures, print them, insert them into a photo album, and that was the catalog.
And that was your catalog, friends. Whew. Now we do have some of the newer, older ones right here on display. Also, you'll see what the bar looks like with some cellophane on it compared to an early stage of the clamshell bars. This was, of course, before the classic curve shape that we all know and love.
More wax in the current bars than in these old ones, but I do remember those old ones.
Oh, yeah. Oh, speaking of, okay, so this one right here, the terracotta, that was my very first ever Scentsy warmer way back in the day.
And we mentioned, look at some of the dishes, like on the sandstone, the terracotta. Look at the dish on Shabby Chic. You could fit like 4 bars in that. You could,
honestly, and the ones that have the little pory ones, my mom has one of these too, and mercy, there was a whole lot of wax that goes in there.
These were the original. We did not design our own warmers in the beginning. Heidi and Orville sourced them, and other companies were also sourcing these exact same warmers. So it wasn't that you could go into another store and get a knockoff. No, you could go into another store and get exactly
Scentsy.
the same warmer that we were sourcing at the time.
Never fear.
yeah.
We started to design our own, and that is also
Yes.
what we do these days. And as you can see now, by looking comparatively speaking to our older catalog / photo album and our new catalogs, what a difference that makes.
Yeah, I mean, just you have to have a lot of respect for
You
people
do.
who are out selling the Wild West, and and I know there are people who still really love some of these. They're like, man, I wish you'd bring some of those back. But my goodness, the other interesting one are these testers.
Yes.
So the testers were all in glass bottles.
I mean, can you imagine just lugging around
It was
all
like
of these
20 plus pounds of testers.
There's a ton of wax in there,
Yes.
but they still smell amazing. Like if you opened up this case, I'm not saying do it, but if you did and you unscrewed them, you would still smell the fragrance in these testers. But imagine just packing that around. So there's two different sizes there, 80 of those.
Things. Yeah.
And then, oh, we have a room spray over here, you said. There's also a Scentsy green. Now, we reimagined these, I want to say a year or two ago. I don't know. There's no concept of time these days. Maybe it's been 2 years. But we did kind of refresh these with some newer colors. But you can still see that original Scentsy green.
Yeah. Now, one more thing we want to show you. You can't miss it, and I'm sure you've noticed them in our background, is the ginormous Scentsy buddies that you will also find and hug and cuddle up next to for a picture the next time you get to visit us here at the home office. Let's take a look at some of our ginormous Scentsy buddies. Now here we are inside of the biggest make-a-scene warmer you've ever seen.
We found a new place and we found some friends.
Oh, hi.
Oh, hi, we found some buddies.
So next time you come to the home office, find your favorite giant buddy. They're all over this building. Cuddle up, take a little nap maybe, but at least get a picture.
At least find your favorite, take a picture. I mean, think of that user-generated content for sharing on your socials. Just the engagement piece alone from a gigundous buddy of your own.
Yeah. So for Sarah and I, thank you so much for all that you're doing. Congratulations on the incredible accomplishment of making it to 200 PRV this month.
200!
Yeah.